Hi, my name is Jordan.
My
Evan.
name is Kevin.
And this is James, our son. Um, I am here to talk with Kevin today about my depression and anxiety and his side of the story. So I'm going to ask him some questions and he's going to ask me some questions. We'll kind of discuss it, but we're here to really get to the nitty-gritty of things and talk about the side of things that most people don't see. So the first question is, what do you see on a regular basis when it comes to my depression?
Uh, what do I see? I don't know. It seems like tiredness, not wanting to do anything, lack of motivation for everything,
And what
and getting frustrated at everything.
so I do get very frustrated. But um, how do you help in those situations or try to help?
Mm, I don't know. Sometimes something works and sometimes it doesn't. Like, sometimes just getting you out and doing things helps. And other times there's nothing I can do. Just like you're just angry or you're just upset and there's nothing I can do about it.
In the situations where I don't want to do anything, how does that really make you feel?
Um, well, it's usually disappointing, I guess, in the moment because I'm trying to do something and you don't want to do it. Or like I feel like, there's no reason we shouldn't do this right now. The only reason is that you just don't want to, but again, just from my perspective. Um I don't know. Sometimes like I think when you're in those moments you get very judgmental too sometimes in terms of like what I'm doing. Like if I'm like I'll feel like I'm helping out a lot, and then I won't do one thing, and then it seems like from your perspective, you'll act as though I haven't done anything at all. So it's like it's almost like when you're in those moments, there's just tunnel vision on yourself. It's almost like narcissism to a degree when it's like everything is filtered through the way I see it, when you're in those moments, there's no empathy for anyone or anything else around you. Like if the dogs are licking their water bowl and slurping, it gets you upset. Or if they do anything, even like with him, sometimes he'll cry. And now I see like you'll be frustrated with that. So it's like in the moment, it's like super channeled in on what you're feeling, what you're doing and thinking. So that's kind of how I see it.
So, what do you wish others knew about depression? Your side of it.
Hmm. I mean, it is different for everyone, I think, but the vast majority of people that I know who have some form of it benefit a lot from structure and having a schedule and sticking to it even when you don't want to, because I think it sort of trains your brain on what's going to happen.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by our son.
Sort of like trains you on how to think, because even in those moments where you are depressed, if you wash the dishes every day at 7 o'clock, then that just becomes a habit regardless. So just I guess forming those habits maybe is helpful, but I don't know. Other than that, I mean, I know people that have found God, they've found other things, but it's usually some form of structure, because like what makes people the most, or rather what I think inflames it the most if you're in a state like that, is like having nothing to do and just thinking about yourself and being caught up in yourself. Like if you have anything else to do, I think it takes that away, or at least it helps take it away to a certain degree.
So, what advice would you give other people who have a loved one with depression?
Mm, I mean, I guess you have to be patient because like I said, it's different for everyone. It's not always the same, but I think, and like I've sort of come to this realization lately. There's a fine line between enabling somebody and yeah, and supporting somebody, and I think people too easily fall into the trap of enabling a person in negative behavior or negative aspects of their life when they think they're helping. And then there's the opposite too, where if you come too, like too strict, then it goes the other way. So there's like a really fine balance of being creative, suggestive, and having like thoughtful ways to move forward versus being too rigid and strict, or on the opposite end, being too supportive, too enabling, and just anything goes. Oh, you're doing fine. It's okay. Nothing matters. Because that doesn't help either. Because I know plenty of people who are old people now and then in their life. They might be 60, 70 years old who still have that same mentality. Because no one ever just told them like, look, something's got to change. Like, got to do something.
So to kind of give an example of what he's talking about lately, my biggest thing has been losing weight. And I think for the longest time, it was easier to enable the bad habits from his side, such as, me buying unhealthy foods or something like that whenever I'm trying to lose weight. Such as this morning, I went to Walmart and I was picking up snacks, and even on the way out, he was like, buy healthy snacks. Well, I did not.
Well, you bought some. But
I bought some healthy snacks.
You also bought M&Ms and things of that nature.
So what he's getting at is he's trying not to enable those bad habits as much as enabling the good habits that I have, which right now seem like very little when it comes down to it. So, can you recognize when I'm depressed?
Oh, yeah.
Can you give an example of what that looks like?
I think in a word, probably apathy. Just like, I mean, well, first of all, you sleep a lot. Like, you'll just randomly lay on the couch and sleep. But, like, I think it's just like that blank look. Like, it's just apathy. It's like nothing's going on. Like, there's no passion for anything. Like you don't really get excited about anything. Because one of the ways I can tell when it's going away is when you'll just randomly laugh about something. Because you don't do that when you're in some sort of state like that. It's always, if I see you joke about something or if you ask me to do something, that's usually an indicator that it's getting better, because you don't want to do anything when you're in that sort of state. So I guess energy it's like when you're going into it, it's like apathy, and then it's like energy level decreasing, then coming out, it's like energetic, excited. And you're like a swing on a playground. Like, you are either super energetic, happy, and laughing, giggly, or quiet, angry, mad, frustrated. And it's like a swing set. Whereas
there's no middle ground.
I'm like a slide. Not a slide, I guess. What would it be? I'm like a sand pit or something. I'm always the same. I'm level.
Just to clarify, I am I have very severe depression, and while Kevin has his depressed moments, he's very much normal.
Having depressed moments is not the same as having depression, because like everybody gets sad. Like having, I don't get sad or depressed very often, but everyone does. But like having depression is like, it's like being drunk. Like when somebody's drunk, it's pretty evident that something is going on. Like they aren't the same as they normally are, and it's that same type of thing. There's something chemically going on in the brain where it's like something is different.
So how does it make you feel when I am depressed?
Well, I mean, not good. I don't like it. I hate it. It's like I feel like it robs me of who you are because like people who have depression, and this is one thing where it's like people love to accept their flaws, and they're like that's what makes me me, but like no, that's not, that version of you is not you. That is not who you are.
Exactly. So I am a person who takes medication, and I have to take medication. So can you tell a difference if I'm on or off medication?
Yeah, these past 5 days when you weren't taking your medication. And like I don't like to say that because I hate the idea of being dependent on medication for anything. If I was diabetic, I would hate taking insulin. I would, even though it's keeping me alive, I would hate doing it.
This man avoids taking NyQuil or DayQuil if he has a cold.
Yeah, I mean,
He would avoid anything to do with medication if he absolutely would.
I mean, I hate the idea of being like reliant
Dependent.
on something. Yeah, dependent on something.
Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that I cannot I can't function without medication. And whenever I'm off of medication, it's very apparent, and that's one of the things that he has to look for on a regular basis. Um so when I am depressed, who do you reach out to whenever I'm depressed
What do you mean for support for me?
for support for you?
Nobody. I've never been a person to ask anybody for emotional support. I don't vent to anybody. I don't talk to anyone about emotional issues. I mean, God, I'll pray about it and talk to God about it. That's really it. Never in my life have I been a person where, because like you have to understand, I'm a very mentally pragmatic person, I guess. Or, I don't know if that's, I guess that's correct. But like, I think if I have a problem, is there a solution? If yes, I'm gonna do it. If not, then I can't really worry about it because I can't fix it. Not gonna worry about it.
Do you wish you could reach out to somebody?
I mean, no, I could. I have people I could talk to. I have a lot of friends I could talk to. I mean, I talk to friends I have in Discord and online all the time about things, not about my problems. Because actually, weirdly, what helps me is talking to them about their problems. they they vent to me all the time. Like I've what's helped me the most is helping other people. So
So, what can I do to help you understand how I'm feeling? I'm depressed.
I don't know. I don't think understanding would make it better, per se. Because, like, I get how you feel, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna like it. You know what I mean? That's like saying, my house is on fire. What would make you, like, understand this more? It's like, I don't, what is there to understand? It's on fire. Like, we need to either do something about it or, you know. Oh, and we're back.
Sorry, we had to put our child to bed, and we also accidentally recorded. Long story short, the video in the last half was not viable, so we have to redo. So, so the next question is, have you ever done research on depression?
Yeah, I mean, both in talking to people that I know that have depression and online, I think the massive consensus is like, if you had to boil it down to one sentence, there's nothing you can really do. You just have to be supportive. And that's a hard thing for me to do with just my personality and like how I approach problems. I feel like that's very close to enabling, but then like enabling is more akin to like an addiction versus like an actual, I guess, disease or something that you don't have a choice to do.
So, what in specific did you find in your research when it comes to depression and like how you're supposed to help the other?
Well, like I said, be supportive basically. Like the friends that I know who have had the most experience with this and have it themselves and have gone through problems have come to the conclusion that really at points the only thing you can do is be supportive. Like you can say like literally it's gonna be okay, you know, like just give them a hug. It's that type of thing where it's like I don't know. That's I get that. I get that that's the case. It's like you know you wouldn't if it was anything else. If it was a person with a broken leg, you wouldn't just try and fix it. Like it has to heal on its own. You wouldn't be like you wouldn't chastise that person for doing something wrong. And I think this is where for me, it's hard to differentiate this from any other type of illness because it seems like just a choice you're making in the moment. Like like if you're angry or frustrated, my brain instantly goes to like you're for some reason choosing to be this way because I would like I can't relate to just being a certain way for no reason. So like when I encounter that, it's hard to not jump to in my mind like you're just making a bad choice. Like it's just I don't want to say being a jerk, but it's like my brain interprets it as in the moment you're doing this thing and being a jerk. And then like I get that it's not necessarily a choice, but then it's weird because it is a choice. Like even if you're feeling depressed or down, like it's not like you're not in control of your actions, but less so of your emotion, I guess. So,
So, what concerns do you have when I get depressed?
um, that you don't take care of yourself enough, and I think just that you, it feels like you shut off completely. Like I'm not sure if I said this in the part that we cut out or the or after this first video, but it's like a swing sometimes, like your emotions. Like on the one end, it's very excited, you know, laughing all the time, giddy almost, and then on the other end, it's the polar opposite. So it's very polarized, and that's how it goes, and I can literally see it happening almost in real time. I'll see a shift, like I'll see you be super happy and giddy for like you know a half hour, and I can literally watch it swing back to the other side where it's you know the total opposite. So, what was the question for this?
What concerns do you have when I get depressed?
Oh yeah, I guess just so I was saying that to talk about like energy level and stuff. Like it's just it's hard to well I guess basically concerns would be that you aren't taking care of yourself, you aren't enjoying life, not you're just existing as a blob basically.
So, what concerns do you have in regards to our son when it comes to depressed?
I mean the same as before that you don't want to take care of him or you get annoyed. I mean, there have been times over the years where you get really annoyed at the dogs doing stuff, you know, and that's, I mean, it's gotten a lot better in terms of like your overall anger management, and I think that's part of what whatever it is. It's like this emotional swing where it's like the extreme depression is like just the blank. Well, actually, there's usually when you're in that state, it's really easy to make you angry. Like I feel like any joke I make will make you angry, or anything that happens will make you angry or frustrated. Where versus when it's on the other end, it's like I can joke about anything and almost anything can happen and it doesn't frustrate you that much. So I guess concerns with our son would be like you know, are you still gonna have that grace for him when he makes mistakes? Because kids definitely make mistakes. YouTube randomly playing by itself.
um so at this point that was the last question that I had. Do you have any questions?
What would you do if it was me?
If basically
If we
if
switched
he was
if
the
we switched
depressed
roles.
if you were the depressed person and I was the one so I would basically what you said in previous answer that you would be supportive. I would be supportive as much as possible. I would understand there are points that I couldn't do anything. And when it comes down to it, like you said, I don't take care of myself. If you were me in this situation, I would make sure that you were taking care of yourself in basic of ways. Now for me, it's really hard to take care of me because a lot of the most basic needs are like eating, showering, just just basic stuff. I emotionally eat. So if if it was you and all of that good stuff, I would just make sure that you had food. I would make sure that cuz I don't like to cook whenever I'm depressed.
You barely like to cook when you're not depressed. That's changing though.
It is changing mainly because we started using things like HelloFresh or emails and um but
Yeah.
but yeah, just making sure that the other person is taking care of themselves in the most basic of ways. And for me, like if I was to ask you to do something, then just take that and run with it. Like for example, just me asking you to take James earlier whenever I was talking to my family so that I wasn't sitting there with a crying baby while I was talking to my family um is is good for me because that means that I get time talking to my family because I don't get to see them very often. Um that really helps me out, especially if I'm in a depressed state and I feel like talking to somebody. That really helps me.
I just had a good question. Blanking out what it was. Um,
um Based on the research that you did, was there anything that you found that specifically would help out a depressed person?
I mean, not that I can think of. Literally, it all boils down to just be supportive because there's nothing you can do. Which
No, I mean as the depressed person.
oh, oh, that was actually part of my question, I guess. That I had when you were in those states, like what, like, do you feel like you're like there's just a weight on you, or like do you feel like you just don't want to do anything? Like,
So like especially I can tell you how I've felt over the last like 5 days. Over the last like 5 days I have been just extremely tired and all I can think about is sleeping and eating, and it feels like those are the only two things that I can really take care of physically and mentally.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't focus on anything else. Like I think I took a shower on Monday and I haven't taken one. So, which most people would think that's probably gross, but that's what it comes down to. Like I don't take, and that's the kind of person that I am whenever I'm in a depressed state.
Hmm.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah, pretty much.
I felt like I rabbit trailed a little bit. Do you have any other questions? Me?
No, I mean,
You didn't answer my question. My other question was, in your research, did you find anything that would be helpful to?
oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I said basically like it's just be. All they say is be supportive. Like there's nothing you can.
No, as the depressed person.
What would help as the for
So like a lot of times they tell
oh
people
yeah
with depression to have structure, which I think you mentioned that earlier.
yeah. I'm not sure if that was before or after, but yeah, basically like all the things that would normally help you will help you when you're in that mode because it's like all you can think of is basically yourself and your own feelings. So like having a structure is something to fall back on, or a plan or a schedule, and then also building habits. Like I mentioned earlier, like if you always load the dishwasher at 8 o'clock every evening or something, you'll just get in that mode. You know. So do you feel like do you have the energy to do things when you're depressed? Like if I asked you like, could you physically walk around the block 3 times? Like you like would that be difficult or not?
I think it would be difficult, just especially over the last couple like days. Though I I feel like it would be difficult just because I was so tired. But the thing is I've been wanting to walk because I'm wanting to lose weight. So taking a walk appeals to me in a different way right now.
Well, it's weird because like you said the other day, like you had 12 hours of sleep. So physically you can't be that tired.
But I was.
But it's just like you feel that way. So like I don't know.
Yeah, like the day that I got 12 hours of sleep, I still felt exhausted throughout the day. I felt like I got maybe 2 hours of, even though I got 12.
When we went to Taekwondo, we went there on Thursday. You when we got there, you didn't want to do it. Like you seemed like you were almost gonna back out.
Yeah.
Like you were really apprehensive. But then once we got in and did it, you were fine. Like you were. And when we left, you were on a very different level. Like I feel like emotionally than when we came in.
Yeah.
So seeing that makes me think the answer then must be working out. Like getting adrenaline going, getting endorphins going, because that's what happens when you work out. Like because actually that might have been the turning point this time around was doing that because you've been kind of on the uptick since Thursday, I feel like.
I've also been taking my medication.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, maybe that too. I don't know. I don't keep track of you taking your meds, so I don't know when if ever you've stopped taking it for an extended period of time before or how that plays in, but clearly it does something.
That's something that I feel like maybe you could do for me too, is like if you feel like I'm in a depressed state, just be like, "Hey, did you take your medication today?"
That seems like
It
saying that
seems
seems
like
like an
it's
insult.
rude. It seems like it's rude,
That's like a
but
joke you
like
would say to somebody like, "Did you forget to take your meds today?" Like it's like a
yeah, but I know that it's coming from a loving state. Like if some rando from the street decided that they were going to be
yeah.
if they knew who I was and they knew that I took medication and they just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, did you take your medication?" It's almost like looking at a woman and being like, "Was it that time of the month again?"
Well, I know for me, if I had to take medication and somebody asked me like, "Did you forget to take your meds because you're acting different?" That would be offensive to me because that makes me feel like I don't have control over my emotions.
I don't though.
Yeah.
Like That's the thing that I want
That,
people to know is
that
like
scares me. Like,
I don't have control over my emotions when it comes down to it. Like if I'm in a depressed state, like that's literally all that I can feel being depressed.
yeah.
And it's really annoying because I want to be happy. Like I'm just like any other person. I want to be happy and I want that upswing. But when the depression hits, like it feels like the swing is never gonna go the way.
Hmm. Yeah, it's weird because obviously it does. And that's what I mean. Like, there's something about a manic depressive person where, like, when they're in the depths of that state, and I've talked to many who are, all they can talk about is themselves, like how they feel, what's going on. Like, it's like you have a camera which is normally pointing out, and then it turns back around on yourself in
Mm-hmm.
that moment. Like, it's such a weird thing.
And yet, whenever you focus on other people, it becomes better because
Yeah.
I've noticed that with myself. If I'm in a depressive state and I have a friend that is also in a depressive state, and all of a sudden it's like they're in a worse state than I am, and I help them, I kind of get out of my depression. But the biggest thing that I have to do is I have to make sure that I take my medication because like that's the biggest thing because it helps me stay in a neutral zone so that I can decide what I want my day to turn out as. And then the other thing is actually working out because of the endorphins and also because one of my biggest goals right now is to lose weight. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I've told you that I want other children, more children, not other children, other children.
We're just gonna
But
find some in the street.
just um but I don't want to be the weight that I am right now and then have other children because if I didn't find my pregnancy to be hard in any way, but I did find that my body wasn't as willing to bounce back after the and it still isn't willing to
Well, I
bounce
think just
back.
living life too. I mean, it's not anything you do. I think is better if you're not overweight. Like everything,
Mhm.
like going to the store to get groceries is better. Like going upstairs is better.
Going down the stairs right now is like a huge thing for me, especially in the morning. For some reason, going down the stairs, like it's painful sometimes, actually. And
Well,
I
it is.
hate saying that because I hate being
Do you mean like your feet and stuff?
my feet and my ankles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is for me too. Sometimes that's just because when you lay flat, your blood vessels in your legs sort of compress, and then when you stand up again and start walking, they expand drastically. And when you go downstairs, you're
But
like,
you shouldn't have pain.
well, it can hurt. It goes away for me after like a few minutes, just once everything normalizes.
I don't remember ever having that kind of pain downstairs whenever I wasn't.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not overweight, but I'm heavier just because like muscle mass and stuff for my height, and
Well, that makes
I
me
don't know.
feel better, but
It
I
shouldn't
still don't remember feeling that whenever I was no.
it shouldn't last more than a minute or two.
It doesn't. It usually lasts maybe 2 minutes. Did you have any other questions for me? As far as being
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, just dealing. It's so hard when it's your spouse. I feel like because it's just different. I feel like you want to be able to be honest with your spouse about like everything, obviously, but you can't when you're in those states. Like I feel like I have to walk on eggshells, and that's tough sometimes. So like know, I feel like it's just something where like there's a degree of tact that has to be used when you're like that, which I've always hated it, but at this point it's just something that you do. But
Do you feel like over time you become better at dealing with my depressed states?
yeah, but I think you've also gotten like different. Like you've changed a bit in how it plays out. Like maybe it's your medication change or whatever, but you're now it seems like you're a lot less angry and you're just more tired when you get in that state. Where before, maybe back like 2015 ish, whatever, you'd be way more angry about everything. Like, and even up until 2018. So maybe it's like a
Brushing
medication.
his teeth the wrong way would make me, or slurping some soup, or eating cereal right next to me in the morning and hearing that chewing sound. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was, but and that still irks me, but I can I can
Having a baby is constant
be
slurping
okay.
sounds though, so you better get used to it.
Oh, I know. I know it's constant slurping sounds. But like the dogs slurping their water
Yeah.
cuz they do it for like 5 minutes straight. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but sitting there hearing that slurping sound for 5 minutes straight, it's just like, can you please do something else? But yeah. I think as time goes on, like you learn how to help your other person, how to help your significant other through these times because and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos is cuz I want other people out there to understand that one, you're not alone, and two, it will get better. It gets better over time. And working with
Well, it gets better if you do the right things to make it get better. If
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't improve your diet, like being healthy, I think is huge.
Mhm.
No matter what, like if you're eating right and you're exercising, that's going to go way farther to being to just having a higher baseline of what happy is than if you're not. Like I think like being depressed pulls you off that baseline a bit, or maybe a lot depending on what happens. But all those choices raise the baseline of happiness. Like if you work out, eat right, pray or whatever, focus on family and in yourself and fixing your own personal problems, it raises all those that baseline higher up. So it's less far to fall than you would be before. If you start here and fall, you're going to be way down here, but if you start here and fall, you're going to be that type of thing.
And one of the things that I've learned, especially after having a baby, is to not be afraid to ask for me time because and that doesn't have to be you like going off into the wilderness and having me time and like leaving your spouse with your child. I'm talking like just going to the grocery store by yourself or getting your hair done or um just doing something for 5 minutes that's just you. You know, earlier he took the baby and let me talk to my family. That was a big thing for me because I laid in the hammock that we just set up outside and it was relaxing. I got to laugh with my family and that was great. But not being afraid to ask for me time and exercise. Like I'm asking him for exercise because that's a big thing for me right now. Like after this video, I'm probably going to go upstairs and exercise because and it's good night. But when it comes down to it, like that's an important thing for me. Especially if I'm wanting to lose weight. So, I think that pretty much covers it. So, do all those fun YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. Um Let me know if there's anything that you have questions about in the comments, and we will see you in the next video.